During a high school class project, my teacher told me it's unrealistic being a CEO. It's been my dream to be a CEO since I was 10. So I told her, it is realistic. Follow me on my journey to learn what it takes to become a CEO. Welcome to another episode of the Realistic CEO podcast. Today I'm here with Carla Cosenzi. How are you doing today, Carla?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I am honored to be a part of this.
Thank you for coming on. It means a lot for you to take your time out of your day to help me become a better CEO and also my audience and help improve them in their careers. Can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Sure. I am the president of Tommy Car Auto Group, consisting of Country Hyundai, Genesis of Northampton, Country Nissan, Northampton, Volkswagen, Global Cars, Pioneer Valley, Tommy Car Collision Center, and Tommy Car Towing.
So can you tell us a little bit about your journey to how you got into this industry?
Oh, yes. I have an interesting story because my intention was never to be in the car business. So even though I grew up in the car industry and was little coming to the dealerships, there were really never any female role models in this industry. So I never really saw myself fitting here. So I went on after high school to go to college, went on to get my master's at Columbia in clinical psychology, planned to move on to get my PhD. And in between that application period, my dad said, hey, would you come home and help me with a couple things around the dealership? And it'd be nice to have some of your input and I would really appreciate it. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to save some money, help my dad, spend some quality time with him. I had been away for a while. And so I did that. And before I knew it, he had a bigger plan for me and he had me enrolled in National Automotive Dealer Academy, which is a dealer school. And through that, you work in every different facet of the automotive industry. So it gave me the opportunity to work in the sales, service, parts department, accounting. And in the sales department, I ended up falling in love with selling cars and realized that I was good at it and I could have a huge impact on the way people transacted with a car dealership and what that felt like. And I felt like I could make a huge change in that. And it was powerful for me. So I abandoned my further education to stay in the car business and work alongside with my dad and worked through every different facet of the dealership. And through that, came out in a place where I was prepared to run my own dealership. And so we opened a store, a brand new point. And shortly after that, my dad was diagnosed with a glioblastoma brain tumor and was given only 6 months to live. He ended up living 2.5 years, luckily. But it's funny how fate works, because if I had never come home and worked with him, I would have never been prepared to take over. Not that I felt prepared at the time, but more prepared than I would have been to take over the family business. So during that time, we sold some of the dealerships, got it to a more manageable amount where he felt like I would be able to be successful. And overnight, my dad lived 2.5 years, passed away. Overnight, one night I went to bed as the owner's daughter, and the next day I woke up as the owner and responsible for over 150 employees. And I was in my late 20s, and that was it. Woke up as the president.
So, talked about how fate happened. You were like, you really didn't even think about coming into this industry.
Never.
Yeah.
There were no females in this industry except for in the main office in traditional female roles.
So knowing that, did that kind of make you want to become part of this? And like me seeing that there was no female representation and you became an owner, was that something that you had in mind, or was it more like, I just want to take over my family's business and keep it going?
I had a respect for this business because it afforded me the life that I grew up in. I watched how hard my dad had worked to grow our company and this business from nothing to something. There were over 150 employees who had been so loyal to my dad through the time when he was sick, believed in me, and who were counting on me to take over to provide a life for their families. And I really felt a deep need to carry on my dad's legacy. And so I wouldn't say that the lack of female leadership made me want to get into the position, but it definitely changed my perspective of the industry. And it made me work really hard to attract females to the industry, especially in non-traditional roles. I mentioned how the lack of female leadership there was then. Now I'm proud to say in our company, we have over 43% of our employees that are female and over half of those in non-traditional roles that didn't exist before I got here. So yeah, it's nice to say that I got here and I made an impact and a huge difference in the automotive industry, especially inside of our company.
So for you, talk about how you went that the dealership school and you realized that you fell in love with selling cars. What was it about selling car that you realized that, oh, maybe this is something I do want to do?
Sales is a connection. A lot of people look at it as just a transaction. To me, it was really a chance to connect with a customer, to make a difference in the community and change the way people saw the car buying experience. And I was able to do that. And I had such a passion for it that not only did I change it with my customers, but I changed the way it happens throughout the dealership and then throughout the dealer group. And I was just so humbled by that impact that I fell in love with it.
For you, you talked about how a lot of times people just see sales as just a transaction. You pay me this, I give you this, but
Right.
for you, it's a relationship. So how are you able to build relationship in sales?
My customers that I originally sold cars to that I was on the sales floor with still text me and call me when they come into the dealership and bring me cookies or honey. And that if they see this, they'll know exactly who they are and who I'm talking about. I built relationships with them. They trust me. They refer friends and family to me. It's become, I know it sounds cliche, but they've really become family. Not only them, but everybody inside of this dealership and our dealer group.
So what are some tips that you can give to me? Because my dad says that I do pretty well when it comes to sales, but I personally feel like I'm terrible at sales. So what are some ways that I can improve in when it comes to sales?
It is a personal connection. You have to be able to connect and you have to build trust. It's really about a longer relationship than that original sale. A lot of people make it about themselves and what they're selling. It's really about the other person and listening to their needs and helping them accomplish their goals of what they came in to purchase.
So can you tell us about like your thought process when you realized, wow, I have over 100 employees overnight in your late 20s? How did that feel for you?
Not only was I very young, but I was the only female. I definitely lacked confidence at that point. So I wish that I could go back and tell myself that you're more capable of what you thought you were at that time. I worked really hard. I just went to work. I worked every day, including Saturdays, open to close. And I felt such a responsibility that these employees trusted. They didn't have to. Like, they had families to take care of. They had their own fears in what was going to happen with the company after my dad passed away. But they trusted me and they believed in me and they believed in my vision. And I wish back then I understood more of how much they believed in me and I wasn't so self-conscious about that. But I'll forever be grateful to the people that were here for that. It was a very scary time.
For you, you talk about how you weren't really confident in your ability to run the business, but you did it anyways. So how are you able to just get over that lack of confidence?
That just came with hard work and experience. I first of all tried to never let anybody see that lack of confidence. I came in always really strong, always had a really good vision that I hoped people would believe in and follow and trust me. And I spent a lot of time learning about leadership and investing in my team and surrounding myself with people who were smarter than me and knew more than me at that time. That really helped me. I had mentorships. I found a lot of different mentors that were either in the automobile business or outside the automobile business that I could trust and count on, that really gave me a lot of the tools and had those difficult conversations with me. And I learned very early that, you have to feel good about making really difficult decisions.
When it comes to making those difficult decisions, you say you have to feel good. What are you doing to make sure that you're feel completely confident in your decisions, even though it can be a tough one?
Some of that is gut, right? And believing and trusting in yourself. And the other part of that is knowing that it's okay to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, you'll figure out what to do and how to fix it.
You talked about how you lack self-confidence because you're like going from the owner's daughter to now the owner. and it's really a new experience. You're fresh out of college and you really didn't even think about going into this career at all. So what was like your biggest like curveball you had going from the owner's daughter to the owner?
Listen, no one can ever prepare you for sitting in that seat. I spent 2.5 years with my dad when he was sick. I lost a lot of focus on the business, spending time caring for my dad and his health and wanting to be there as a daughter and trying to balance that with also trying to learn as much as I could from him in business without him feeling that pressure and him feeling confident that I felt okay with what was going on. Nothing can prepare you for that day when you sit there all by yourself. It really just came down to grit, determination, hard work. And I wanted to carry on his legacy. I wanted to do it. I wanted to succeed. So there was no other choice.
So for you, what was like the first thing that you did when you officially became the owner?
Think about it, right? You're mourning the loss of your dad at the same exact time, right? So you're dealing with death and the loss of your father, who was my best friend, my mentor. I was so close with him. So I was really struggling with that and this new position happening at the same time. So I've goosebumps talking about it because it was just such a difficult period in my life. There wasn't a lot of time to think. He wasn't there anymore. And we weren't in a great financial position in the business because we had spent 2.5 years focusing on his health, not necessarily the health of the business. So this was a do or die. You were going to come in, you were going to work hard, and you were going to figure it out, and it was going to work or it wasn't. And I don't believe failure is an option. I never have. So I figured it out.
That's super inspiring to me because I don't know if I would.
You do it. You just do it. You don't think you could do it looking back. I don't think that I could ever, if somebody told me that was going to happen and said, do you think it'll work? I could question that now. But when you're in that situation, you do it.
I'm just thinking, I like really applaud to you because if my dad was to pass away right now, like I know it'll be super tough for me to keep going in my business. So like, I just really think that's super, super inspiring that you were able to just take it over and you really like just like I'm speechless cause from that. So like for somebody that's new coming into your industry, what are some advice that you would give to them?
You know exactly what I would have told my younger self. You're more capable than you think. You have to have confidence. Find mentors. Surround yourself with good people. Really learn good leadership skills and invest in your team. I'm nothing without the people that are inside these dealerships. They're who make me successful. We work together and we're teammates, and I'm so grateful for them. So it's important to surround yourself with good people. I always tell my kids, you are who you hang out with, right? That old saying, but it's true. And that follows you all the way through life.
So for you, when it comes to building teams, finding people to add to your teams, what are some things that you're looking at, whether it's personal skills and also professionalism that you're looking like, okay, maybe this is the type of person that I want on my team?
So our values, if you look at our list of values for the company, you'll see they almost all come down to having a will to win and not making excuses and taking full responsibility and holding your team accountable to your expectations after you set clear expectations, and investing in your team and your partnerships with your teammates and who you work with. But that one thing that always stands out to me is having a really strong will to succeed.
So talked about setting expectations. So what would that kind of look like for you when it comes to your expectations inside your business?
So for me, the most important thing that we do as a company is we always make sure we have the right people in the right seats, and that we have very clear expectations of what each job role entails. And then we train to that, and then we hold accountable to that. And that's why I think we have so much longevity throughout the company. And that's why I also think that you see so many people in our company get promoted from within. Pretty much everybody in high-level leadership positions here started in a lower position. And I'm really proud of that.
So you're definitely doing something right, Payman, to want to stay to a point where you're able to promote them. So what is about you, like you personally, that you think people would want to stay working for you?
I think that what I'm about to say is a strength and a weakness, because I am so close on such a personal level with so many people here that they know me, they know my kids, I know them, I know their kids, I know what's happening in their lives, but it also makes that really difficult to have those hard conversations, or when it's not the right person in the right not in if when it's not the right person in the right seat, to make those really hard decisions to separate. But I definitely think that people respect how involved myself and my brother are inside this company and how invested we are in everyone who works here.
So what would you say is like you talk about you're just really good at connecting with people, but what was that like something that you always been good at or was it something that you developed?
I continue to work to develop that. I always want to be better at that. But I've always, since the day I got involved in this business, even before my dad passed away, felt a responsibility to anybody who was on my team for their success. So I always felt responsible for their paycheck, and I always felt responsible for how they felt when they went home at night, and I always felt responsible for their ability to grow because of what I was able to invest in them. So when I was a sales manager, I was responsible for my salespeople and their team and wanted them to be able to sit in my seat. And as I continued to grow throughout the company or work in different positions, I carried that with me.
So you talk about you're always developing here. So what has probably been your biggest strength so far that you've realized when it comes to being the owner and running the business?
Probably investing in my team and surrounding myself with really good people.
So I noticed that's something that you brought back your investing in your team. So why is it that the part investing in your team, why is that so important to you?
I think you are who your team is. Without the 100 and I think we're up to 170 employees now throughout the company. Without these 170 employees, I would be nothing. They are the people who build the connections with the customers. They're the one who believe in me and my vision and help me take the company to the place that it is today. This doesn't happen without them. And I wake up every day grateful for that.
So for somebody that might want to start a car dealership or even auto group, what is some of the advice that you would give to them?
Believe in yourself, hard work. This business is a lot of hours. It is really hard work, and you have to be able to. There's a lot of adversity that comes in the car business. You have to be able to adjust and change and maneuver quickly. So it's important to be resilient when it comes to that.
How were you able to build resilience? Did it just come overnight for you or was it something that you had to work on?
I've always, since I was young, had this really strong will to win. Like no one was ever going to tell me that something couldn't be done. I would figure out and make sure I could do it. Like when we talked before this started. So I've always had that grit in my stomach where I wanted to succeed, and that if an obstacle came in, I would figure out how to get around it, right? I wouldn't let it get me down. I would say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pivot and we're going to do this instead. And I think you have to have that in life because nothing is ever going to go as planned and obstacles are going to come up all the time. And if you can't figure out how to do for it and come up with a new business plan and take that to action, then you won't ever succeed.
So for you, would you say that was a leader, being a leader, like something that you always had? Were you always the type of person to have like strong leadership skills? And if so, if not, how were you able to develop strong leadership skills?
No, I mean, at first I thought I could just do everything myself and I knew the best way. And it took a long time to develop that. And I always believed in my team and growing people. But now I really have gotten to the point where I'm so much more open to what the team needs and their suggestions and how to run the business and different ways to do things. And I'm grateful for that because it's not one dimensional anymore.
So how are you able to go from thinking that you knew everything to now you're like, oh, maybe this isn't right because someone so said we should change this. How are you able to change your mindset to the point where it's okay to have your teammates help you?
I've been humbled a lot of times through my career here, through different situations like that. But some of that just comes with personal growth and really working on yourself and who you want to be. And I think that it's important to constantly try to get better and pay attention to who you are and how people perceive you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because right now I have a small team, so like I'm not at 150. I'm at 170 plus yet. Right now it's just me and Josh and my dad for the most part running the team. So I'm just preparing for when I have to take the next step. So I'm having over 100 employees. So for somebody like me that is working on trying to grow their business, what is some advice that you would get?
So sometimes it feels easier, and it probably is, to do things yourself right away. But in the long run, you can't scale like that. So in order to grow your business, you have to have scalable processes, and you have to have the people in place who understand that and believe in it and want to come on that ride with you. So even though you could do it yourself and get it done quicker, you have to train, hire, invest in other people who can do that so you can scale and you can grow.
So you talked a lot about investing. So I want to see, what does it look like for you when it comes to investing in your employees and make sure that they're doing like their jobs like to a T?
A lot of time. So each of we look at everything based on an accountability chart. And anybody who is a direct report to me, I have a one-on-one with every week. So that is 1 hour that I'm available for them, undistracted, so they can load anything that they need from me, and we can go over it in that time, and vice versa. Anything that comes up throughout the week that I need to review with them, I save for that time. So then they don't feel like there's another email from Carla coming, or she's calling, or she needs something else, and it feels chaotic. It's very organized, and we prioritize what of those things do we need to discuss that either impacts employees or the bottom line the most, and we prioritize those in our meetings.
You talked about how you don't just bombard them with emails. You do it in just 1 hour. Was that always your motto?
No, I used to bombard people with emails all night in the middle of the night and drive them crazy. And they'd get into the morning and there'd be 30 emails from Carla from 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. And my perception was, oh, they'll read them when they get in the morning and they'll handle them. And their perception was it gave them anxiety that they woke up to them, and were they supposed to respond, and did they not get back to me quick enough? And so I learned really quickly that wasn't the right way to communicate. It was ineffective, and it didn't make coming to work the next day feel good for the employees.
You talked about a lot of lessons that you've learned so far. So what has been like your biggest lesson that you learned so far when it comes to owning your home business?
That it's okay to make mistakes. As long as you learn from them, that it's okay. And you figure out how to overcome whatever mistakes. Nothing can't be fixed.
So what was your biggest mistake that you've made that you felt like, oh, I can't even overcome this one?
I don't have it. Listen, I've made a million mistakes, but I've learned so much from each of them that I can't look back and say this was such a huge mistake and I didn't come from it. It was detrimental. There was nothing. I learned to pivot.
So you talk about, was that something that was that always your strong suit of being able to be like, okay, I failed or I made a mistake here, I'm gonna learn from it, move on to the next one? Or was it more because I know sometimes I make a mistake and I'm sitting there trying to analyze how I could fix it and it's just a simple mistake that I could have just got over. So for you, were you able to just get over mistakes?
I think some of that is training yourself, right? Like you have to train yourself. Time is really valuable. And the more time you spend dwelling on something that already happened instead of planning on how to move forward is time wasted. Time has always been a really big word for me because when you're in this business, you don't have a lot of it. So you have to manage it and use it wisely. So yeah, I learned really early on, there's not a lot of time to dwell on mistakes that were made.
So when it comes to selling cars, like what do you know is there differences between someone buying their first car versus a veteran that kind of already understands the process?
From a salesperson's perspective, oh yeah. Listen, selling is psychology, and like I mentioned earlier, it's a personal connection. And a lot of times when you're first learning to sell, you're so nervous about the sale, you lose that personal connection. And without that, then it's a transaction. And that's not what we're looking for in our dealer group. Yeah, there's a lot of training on how to relax, listen to a customer's needs, make sure what you're presenting fits their needs. It's not about you. It's not about the dealership's needs. It's really about the customer and accomplishing their goals and coming in. So it takes time to slow down a new salesperson. We put them on a buddy system. We have early involvement from managers to make sure customer experience stays really high throughout the company when we have new salespeople. But yeah, it's a lot of training.
For you, when you first started selling, did you have a big learning curve, or did you understand right away it's more about being able to have the customer feel comfortable enough in building important relationships right with that?
I came from a very strict research background. That's all I had done was research and papers. So I was used to working in really controlled environments. And then you walk into a dealership and it's absolute chaos. It's the complete opposite. But I also had studied human behavior so much. And I think that gave me such an advantage when I was sitting and working with customers that I was able to connect in a different way. And it wasn't to me about just selling the car because I didn't come from sales and I didn't feel that pressure. It really was just about changing the car buying experience through each of my customers one at a time. So I came from such a different place that it offered such a fresh perspective.
What are some ways that you are able to differentiate your car auto group versus somebody else? Because I know I drive around, I see a whole bunch of different car dealerships, and so how are you different from the others?
First of all, we're women owned. We have so many women in non-traditional roles, which I think naturally plays a difference in how we do business and your experience when you come into the dealership. We're also family owned and operated. So it's one thing to be family owned, but to have the owners in the store every single day, 5 or 6 days a week, to pass customers in the showroom, to know all of your employees. It feels different when you come in here, and that's what we want, and that's what we've worked so hard for. And we believe when you do business with us, your business does good. Our foundation is giving back to the community that made us successful. I always felt honored and grateful for the people who supported us, especially really early on, that I always wanted my way of saying thank you and show my appreciation was to give back to that community and make it a better place for people to live and work and support little league teams. And I live here, I work here. I don't think you can say that about any other dealer group in the area.
What has been your favorite experience so far throughout your whole career?
I love selling cars. I love the sales floor. Like, I light up when I talk about it. I love when it's busy and they'll be like, we don't have enough salespeople. I love to run out of my office. I love when some of my old customers come in and I get to sit down with them. Like, I absolutely love that connection with customers on the sales floor. And I wish that I could do it more, but then I don't do the business justice.
Yeah. So you really enjoy sales. Like, what was it about when you talked about how you're in the dealership classes and you realize you fell in love with sales? What really was it about sales that you realized I really love it?
People think car dealers have a stigma, right? People come in like with their guard up and they talk about, what you're not supposed to tell a car dealer when you come in to trade in your car or to buy a car, or what should happen and can happen. When I sit with a customer and something like that happens, they feel different. I completely changed the way that car buying process felt to them. And that was special to me. It motivated me.
So I just got one more question for you. And what's one fun fact about yourself that nobody really knows?
I love to garden. Fun fact about me that no one really knows. I don't know. I feel like I'm such an open book. That's probably it. I don't know if people would expect me to go home and love to work in my garden and hang out in there, but that's like my peaceful spot.
What's your favorite thing to plant or in your garden? Do you have any particular or your favorite type of flowers, or you just?
So this is the first year I planted a ton of flowers, but I love a vegetable garden. I love to eat out of it. Feel so rewarded of planting and growing vegetables and then going out and being able to bring them in and cook them for dinner. And my daughter loves to cook with me, so it feels so good. The garden's kind of our special time together. My son's kind of getting into it. And then to be able to sit down together as a family and have dinner together out of something that we grew is really special to me.
Thank you for coming on. I really learned so much. So I hope everyone that would watch and is tuning in as well learn. So I just do my
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to thank every single one of you for all the support you've shown me in this past year of my journey of becoming the realistic CEO. So ways that you can support even more is by going onto my website, www.realisticCEO, and ordering your copy of the Realistic CEO book. See you in the next one. Peace.